morning, Antelope Valley. Welcome to your home and AV podcast. My name is George Mercado, and my co-host is Carlos Pais. How you doing, Carlos?
I'm doing great. Full of energy, George. How about yourself?
I am full of energy too. This is an
Awesome.
awesome day.
Yes,
Awesome
it's going to
day.
be great.
So, Carlos, do you have any updates for us this week?
You know what? I just want to let you guys know that we're still growing. We have about 15 agents in California now. We just hired somebody to start recruiting in California because we're concentrating to get California bigger and faster. We are in like 13 states now, but we're trying to concentrate in California. So that's great. We also looking to see how we can expand because we're getting all these new agents, students, and agents that want to come aboard. So most likely we're going to need a new location pretty soon. So that's why we're very excited. I'm trying to fill up all these people with energy and that way they can sign up with us. So hopefully we can find something bigger and better within the area.
So, yeah, my understanding is that AV is growing. Energy is growing in the AV. They are producing a lot of agents. They also have a great benefits package. So if you're interested in joining AV, just please contact one of us. We'd be happy to help. Today we have Escrow. We are dealing with Escrow today. That's the topic. And we have Diane Combs from Open Tree Escrow. Welcome, Diane.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You are absolutely welcome. Thank you for being here. So, Diane, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So my name is Diane. I work at Open Tree Escrow. I've been in escrow for over 20 years. My office is myself, and I have two assistants, and then I have another escrow officer. We do have Spanish speaking, which I think right now is very, very important. I feel as if you don't have Spanish speaking, you're behind the game.
Yes.
And so it's just a little office of us for my other escrow officer. She has probably over 20 years of experience as well. So we're a very experienced office working in all types of escrow transactions.
Awesome. Awesome. So I know that we used you in the past and we were very happy. That's why you're
Thank
here.
goodness.
So what can you give the audience some insight as to what does escrow do for the real estate transaction?
Well, escrow is the neutral third party. So basically, our job is to ensure that the contract that gets signed by both buyers and sellers and the agents, we receive that. And our job is to ensure that everything that's marked on that contract, any inspections, we make sure all the fees are allocated properly. And so that way, when you get to the end of the transaction, everything has been done. So when we close, the real estate agents have a good, clean file of everything that was supposed to be done through the transaction.
Okay. Okay. So what are some key takeaways for the home buyers from a perspective of escrow?
For us, just to be on top of the paperwork. I know it's very overwhelming, I think, for a lot of buyers. There's a lot of first-time home buyers right now. So it's very overwhelming with the real estate paperwork, the escrow paperwork, the paperwork coming from the lender. So it's just really to stay on top of that paperwork, and whatever paperwork you are receiving, contact the person who has sent it to you if you have questions. That's why you have these people that are helping you, the real estate agents, the lenders, and escrow, to answer any questions that you may have in order to ensure that you know how the process works and what's going to happen when you get to that end stage, when you get those keys.
So when a buyer goes to sign documents, do you guys explain what they're signing?
We do. So we really try to get the clients into our office because there's usually what we call an open escrow package. And we really want to get those clients into the office to sign that paperwork so we can explain that portion of it. And then when we get the loan docs, we facilitate a notary, and the notary will explain all of those documents, everything that they're signing, which is a pretty big package, which can be quite overwhelming. But we're quite picky as to who the notaries are that we choose as well. Some of the notaries I've been working with for 15, 20 years, so they know the business. So there's no questions. When the buyer leaves, they understand what their payment is, what their terms are, and what they're expected to take care of as far as the loan is concerned.
And that's very helpful.
Yes, George, that's very helpful. And that's why I like to work with Diana a lot because there's a lot of escrow companies out there. But what you need to look is for somebody that's really going to help you, somebody that has bilingual people, and somebody that knows what they're doing. And a lot of the escrows usually they just send you the open package and let you decide how you want to show the buyers and help the buyers to sign it, which is not your job. I believe that will be better for escrow to do it. So that's what I like working with her because she brings the buyers in, she is the one that showed the buyers, or one of the Spanish speakers will show them the paperwork, help them to sign it up. That helps a lot. The other thing is that when you're working with an escrow officer, you have to have somebody that's knowledgeable, not only with the buyers, but in different kind of transactions. With Diana, we work with regular buyers, we work with the sellers. We also work with a lot of the wholesale properties because I'm an investor, so I buy a lot of properties and everything we put it through Diana. Not that many escrows know how to deal with that. I also use Diana a lot when I do an owner carry because she's very knowledgeable in that. And that helps a lot when you have somebody that knows pretty much everything.
Yeah, like Carlos was saying, we really prefer, like I said, I don't want to be able to explain the disclosures that the real estate agents have because that's their paperwork. So when it comes to the escrow paperwork, like I said, we prefer to take care of them. I know there's some agents that want to, help them fill out the paperwork, but that's why we really thrive on having the direct communication with the buyer ourselves, letting them know this is the part of the transaction we're going to be involved in. So that way they know if they do have any questions. Let's say if they have a question for Carlos and maybe Carlos isn't available, they know that they can call us and we can help them. And if I don't have the answer, then I'll get a hold of Carlos to help them get the answer that they need.
Okay. I have a question for both of you. So you had mentioned owner carry. Can you explain that?
Well, it's a different kind of finance where the owners, as long as they have to own the property free and clear in order for them to carry. So usually they're looking for buyers. They have at least 10 to 20% down, and their credit is maybe not that great, but they have the money, and the owner wants to just keep the home, doesn't really want to rent it out or sell it. That's when they do owner carry. And a lot of times, these owner carries can be for 3, 5, up to 30 years, depends on how long this client wants to do it. We just did one with Diana. That's for 20 years. For 20 years, they're gonna be the bank. Are gonna be collecting that money from the buyer. They own a house. I think it's the easiest way to do it. I like it. And to be honest with you, I would like to do all my rentals like that because in that way, if something goes wrong with the property, it's their house, it's their problem. I'm only there as the bank, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, I do handle quite a few what we call seller carrybacks. And so, like Carla was saying, you either have to own the property free and clear or have enough equity in order to loan whatever the buyer is needing. And it really does work out for buyers who maybe don't have a great credit score or don't have much credit at all, and can't get an actual financial loan. A seller that's willing to carry back those funds, and it's kind of like having a rental. You're getting that monthly income from that client, but you just don't own the home. Anything that happens, they are responsible for. So it does work out well for quite a few people who have some equity and maybe some buyers who just don't have that great credit.
And will that help build their credit?
No, I don't know about not
Not
necessarily,
necessarily.
but they are making those monthly payments. They would still have to be responsible for insurance and taxes. But it gives them that time period to make their credit better. In case maybe they do want to refinance and have a loan with an actual financial bank in order to that. So it gives them time to repair their credit.
I think that the way it helps them up is that a lot of the owners they do like a 30 do and 5, which that
Mhm.
means within 5 years you have to pay it or have a balloon payment. So that basically gives the buyer 5 years to fix their credit.
Mhm.
So it doesn't help them, but it kind of forces them to work in their credit, and that way they have those 5 years because in those 5 years they might have to refinance or convince the seller to give them a couple more years or just sell the property. You know.
Correct.
But it does kind of help them if you're giving them the opportunity to help them build their credit. And otherwise, they wouldn't be able to even think about purchasing a home. So it
Correct.
does give them that opportunity. So it does help them in
Yes.
sense.
It does. It gives them that structure to know what it is to make a monthly payment, be responsible for a monthly payment, and be responsible for owning a home. Because even though the seller is carrying the loan, the grant deed still gets transferred over to the buyer. So the buyer is still the homeowner, but it gives them that good structure. So if they do decide to refinance, say in those 5 years, now they're already established in making those payments timely every month.
Okay. So out here in the Antelope Valley, what are some typical things that come up in escrow?
One thing I have to say is a lot of people don't understand that when you get a preliminary title report, and that's a report that's run on the property that lets you know what we need to clear on the seller behalf. Are there any loans? Are there any taxes? There's also additional liens and judgments that can come up, but those don't normally come up until a statement of information is given to us from the seller. We basically, title runs their names, their socials, their driver's license. So, sometimes I feel like the sellers tend to delay signing their paperwork. Maybe they're waiting for the appraisal or maybe they're waiting for something else. But the sooner we can get the escrow paperwork back and get that statement of information given to title and get it cleared. Because a lot of times what happens is these liens and judgments, child support is a big one. Franchise tax board liens, those come up only against your social. And so once we run your statement of information, if something like that is to come up, that can delay the closing. Like, say, for instance, a child support, that takes 15 business days to get a demand. That can delay your closing 3 weeks.
Well, isn't the government shut down right now? Wouldn't that take
And
longer?
well, probably right now it probably
It
will.
probably would
Probably
take a lot
would.
longer than that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what would you say to home buyers that are thinking about buying?
Um, I actually get a lot of phone calls for people who are looking to sell their home and don't want to use an agent. And I actually refer them and tell them, I advise you to use an agent. I think people don't understand if you're trying to do a for sale by owner, all the liability that you take on. So I really stress to these clients that you really should seek out an agent. It just helps in the liability later. Because, as escrow, like I said, we are a neutral third party, so we can't do any negotiations. And that's what the realtor is for, to help if there's repairs or something happens. So I really stress to clients. I know a lot of people want to save the money as far as commissions, but having a real estate agent really helps the transaction move smoother. And if any hiccups come up, the agents can take care of that to get that file closed.
That's a good point, George, because a lot of people try to save money um, for sale by owner. But in the end of the day, if something goes wrong, they're going to lose a lot more
Yes.
money than if they wouldn't pay a commission. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to fill up the paperwork. Escrow's not going to do it for them. Like Diana said, they're only a third party organization, which their job is to collect paperwork from everybody. But the seller's never going to be able to give all the disclosures they ask real estate can do.
So your advice is get a real estate agent
Always.
because that real estate agent's a professional and they know exactly what to look out for and how to advise the client on what to buy or sell
Very
in
true.
the Antelope Valley.
That is true. And
That's right.
you'd be surprised, honestly, at how many phone calls we do get with people wanting to sell with no real estate agents. Almost daily.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So in parting, is there any advice that you would give to home buyers?
I would just advise them to ensure that you're listening to your agent, listening to your lender, whatever they're advising you to do, making sure you're not going out and getting new credit and doing all these things that could delay the process later on. And like I said, any questions that you have, that's why you have a real estate agent. That's why we have escrow. That's why we have title lenders. Any questions that you have, don't be afraid to ask. There's never a dumb question. Especially if you're a first-time home buyer, because you don't know the process. So just use the resources that you're given and just make sure that you do understand the process in total.
Awesome. Carlos, do you have anything?
Just what we have been bringing up every week. Like I said from the beginning, we start with the real estate, we move on to the lender, then now we're with the escrow. Next week we're gonna have title. I'm not gonna be here. I have something to do next week, but you will be able to take care of title. And the week after that, we're gonna have the home inspection. So that's gonna help people to understand the life of a deal, the life of a deal, how it goes down, and how many people are involved. Because, like I said before, one of the major things is the buyer's team. The only person that they're dealing with is the agent. But there's a lot of more people behind the scene that take care of this, and Diana's one of them. And thank you, Diana, for helping us with so many escrows and
Always
so
my
many stuff
pleasure.
like that. And like I say, get yourself experienced realtors, experienced lenders, experienced escrows, and somebody that knows what they're doing and how to read the titles, an experienced title rep.
That
That's
does make
just
a
to make it a
difference.
smooth transaction all around. You want to make it a happy moment, and you don't want to regret it.
You don't.
So I want to thank you both. Thank you for being on the podcast
Thank you for
today.
having me today.
It was awesome. It was a lot of good information. Carlos, thank you. It was a lot of good information. I want to thank everybody for watching our episode with Escrow. We are chronicling the real estate transaction. We're educating home buyers and sellers here in the Antelope Valley and as far as we could stretch it. Please like, share, and follow our YouTube page to make sure that we stay on board and give all this free education in real estate to the Antelope Valley. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Gracias, George. Thank you.